Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. Let's talk about AEW Dynamite from June the 11th, 2021. So we started the show with Christian Cage versus Angelico. Angelico was a hired gun by Matt Hardy, and he just did the job because that's what Angelico does. By kill switch, match was longer than it should have been, but it still wasn't as long as it usually would be. After the match, Jack Evans tried to attack. He was dodged, of course, and then Christian dropped him. Then Matt Hardy attacked him with the Twist of Fate from behind. And Jungle Boy ended up making the save. So, Jungle Boy is still tied into this Christian Cage thing. I've noticed that since they started pushing Jungle Boy, he actually stopped hanging around Luchasaurus and the other guy. I did notice the stark lack of them lately. I haven't seen him hang around those guys in quite a while. Maybe I'm tripping, but it's been a couple of weeks, hasn't it? It's like both of them hurt now. But speaking of Jungle Boy, since we're on the subject of Jungle Boy, let's talk about his segment with Kenny Omega. So Don Callis is still talking about some conspiracy to get the belt off Kenny Omega. Then congratulated Jungle Boy and called him a one-hit wonder. Omega basically says he couldn't find anything to disparage Jungle Boy about. He said some homoerotic stuff about his hair and his tights and some more stuff. And then said one day, he says that he reminds him of Jungle Boy, or Jungle Boy reminds him of a young version of himself. And that one day Jungle Boy will get it. May be like him one day. But Don Callis says that he doesn't have the guts. So Jungle Boy comes out and Kenny Omega goes full smart mark. You're not a promo guy. You don't have any guts. Are we going to engage in a battle of wits? Like, his promos don't even sound real. And then Jungle Boy, all he did is say in a very country accent, "You talk too much." And Omega tried to do a cheap shot, which led to a miss. And Jungle Boy throwing some really weak looking forearm shivers, which Kenny Omega sold. I guess he sold it. So they did a weird thing where Omega, of course, ended up almost in the snare trap, and the Young Bucks had to make the save. So Jungle Boy bailed. He bailed. They had the heels run the babyface off. Look, I like Jungle Boy. I do. I like Jungle Boy, man. He's one of the few guys in AEW that I do like. He's a very likable guy. When he posted that one picture of his action figure sitting on his dad's shoulders, I was like, fuck, he needs to win the title. Like, that was such a moving picture. Hopefully I'll put it up on the screen if I remember. It was such a moving picture. And I thought, like, that was fucking awesome. He's easily likable, The only problem is, like, he's painfully short. Kenny Omega is basically a light heavyweight, but he's, let's just say, inflated. But he's basically a light heavyweight, and he's much bigger. Like, all of the guys who were too fucking small 10 years ago are like giants today. And the guys who were too small 10 years ago, 20 years ago, are huge today. I can only imagine how big Bret Hart would be compared to, like, Kenny Omega or something like that. Because at least Bret Hart was 6 feet tall. I don't even think Kenny Omega is probably like 5'8", 5'9", or something like that. But I look forward to this match only because I know Omega, if anything, is a good technician. He can have good matches when he's just not spamming knee strikes. So I don't completely hate everything he does. But Jungle Boy actually has fire, and I enjoy his work. So I'm actually looking forward to Jungle Boy. But this build has been atrocious. The build has been trash. Omega has been doing nothing but talking for the last... Look, I'm okay with him doing character stuff. Just tell me what his character is. Like, what is his character? What is his persona? What is his personality? Is he supposed to be a superstar? Which I heard Dave Meltzer say, well, he's a superstar. Like, what does that mean? I just did a video called "Cool Nicknames Are Not Characters." You also just can't be a name with no character. That's the problem with Christian. Christian came out and started doing outwork everyone. Like, people have been seeing you for 20 years. Where's Captain Charisma? Where's the peeps? Where's all this stuff? And I'm not saying you have to go back and do the greatest hits. You could do new versions of it, but just come out and be like, I'm here to outwork everyone. It's like, yeah, great. Outwork everybody in the curtain, jerking the curtain. Fuck it. Outwork everyone in the Battle Royal. Who gives a shit? Let's go back to the beginning of the show. So Cody Rhodes comes out and he's got to have a special announcement. And this was nothing but that Brock Anderson is going to wrestle. Brock Anderson, the son of Arn Anderson, who obviously looks just like his twin. He looks like a clone of Arn Anderson. Like, man, you wouldn't dare DNA test that one. Like, shit, what the hell? He looked like he was made by Arn personally. So then QT Marshall came out and denied that Ogogo helped him beat Cody. Called Brock, said that this whole thing is nepotism, and then challenged Cody to a strap match. To which Cody was like, you want to have a strap match? We'll have a strap match right now. And he took off his belt. QT then hit Arn for odd reasons and got taken down and pummeled by Brock Anderson. And he had to be held back by security. So next week is going to be QT Marshall and I think Aaron Solo versus Brock Anderson and Cody Rhodes. And that's going to be a barn burner. A main event anywhere in the country. Eddie Kingston and Penta El Zero Miedo and Pac defeated the Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler. It is exactly how it sounds. Whenever Penta and the Young Bucks and Pac and all those guys are together, you know it's every lucha spot known to man, because that's all they know how to do. And Pac ends up pinning Brandon Cutler. But there was a spot where Pac hit the Black Arrow and the Brutalizer, which is his combination finish. I think he did it on Matt Jackson. And Matt Jackson pretty much didn't tap, didn't quit. I mean, really, you shouldn't use your finisher if people are going to kick out of it or not submit to it and stuff like that. It just seems weird to me that he would even go through the trouble. But whatever. But Don Callis says that Brandon Cutler got to do 5,000 squats because he took the L in this match. So after the match, the Young Bucks continued to beat down, and the Good Brothers came out there to assist them. And then out comes Kazarian. And you know what? This whole Elite Hunter thing, I think I see a lot of the Access media. They just love everything, you know. Oh, I love this. I love how this gimmick is. I'm like, why is he the Elite Hunter? What did he look? At least that's a character and a storyline and a gimmick that makes sense. He's literally hunting the Elite. Cool. The problem is the Elite didn't make SCU put their careers on the line. SCU put their careers on the line on their own. SCU challenged the Young Bucks. It wasn't like the Young Bucks challenged SCU. All of this is SCU's doing. What is he mad at the Elite for? For winning? Were they supposed to lay down? What are you mad at them for? The if we lose one more match, we have to retire. That was an SCU stipulation. They came up with that on their own. They came out there to challenge the Young Bucks. They did that on their own. They weren't even prompted. They just said the Young Bucks are being dicks. I thought we were going to have a good friendly match with our friends, but I guess we're going to have to stop you guys. And then they lost. Like, hunt yourself, because this was your fault. This has nothing to do with them. It's just stupid. But I guess you have to be a part of the Access media to get this. Otherwise, it's just the greatest thing in the world. Kiss my ass. They had the Kenny cut of the Double or Nothing segment, which featured subtitles from the referee yelling that he hates Kenny Omega and Don Callis and wants them to take the belts. I forgot all about that until I saw it written here on this paper. So then we get the Pinnacle. So the Pinnacle cuts a promo. Dax is so good. At promos, Dax is really good. His stuff is really relatable. And basically, the crux of his statement was, Stadium Stampede is for guys like us. You know, like, it was built for you roughhouse brawling guys. You know, and he says that Santana and Ortiz essentially said they were complacent, and that's why they power bombed them or power drive them through them tables, trying to shake them up, trying to wake those guys up. It's been 2 years. You haven't been a tag team champions yet. You know, And he says he's got a family, and this is how he feeds his family, and he's going to take out whoever, that kind of thing. So Cash Wheeler shows up, says, I ain't got no family, so I damn sure don't give a shit about yours. And and he says, you're happy being a footnote in somebody else's career. Okay, so we're going to continue this, fight forever. So you have Spears. Spears basically said that Sammy Guevara got lucky, that he's a glorified indie wrestler, and that he's the real hero. None of that made sense. Sean Spears just has nothing to say. This is stupid. He's stupid. Like, can we just beat him with bats and leave him in the middle of an empty field or something, or a hole in the ground, and just pretend that somebody with real talent was there the whole time? Like, can we just do something like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like when they replaced Aunt Viv, they just replaced her and then just pretending like she was the same person the whole time? We need to do that with like Sean Spears. We need to just like come back on AEW Dynamite next week, and it's like Dax, Cash, Wardlow, MJF, and Ricky Starks or something, and then we just pretend that Sean Spears was never there. Let's all do us all a favor and just pretend he was never there. So Wardlow says that Hager is obsessed with him, and that I bring out the best in you. Weird. Then it says you couldn't beat me in this ring, so you challenged me to something on your own turf. I accept, because whenever you and I get into a fight, whether it's in the ring, in a stadium, you're in Wardlow's world. Okay, cool. So MJF had to go last, of course, and because he's very long-winded, and talked about idolizing Jericho, but he's already the best, and that Jericho, he was nervous to meet Jericho the first time, and then realized he was idolizing a false god, that Jericho isn't larger than life. That he's already better than Jericho. He's already beat Jericho twice, so he denied Jericho a rematch. Then he moved his attentions on to Sammy Guevara by calling him a chicken shit, and says that you don't belong in the same ring with me. Then we get Jericho popping up on the screen, who says, you know how this ends. You know how this works. We don't get what we want. We're going to coerce you. So they start beating the Pinnacle's limousine with bats, sledgehammers, and Jericho's got one arm. So he's just one arm. Just, it looks like a baby playing, like trying to play drums on a pot. He's just going bang, 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 bang. Oh my God. I'm surprised if he put like a dent in it. Santana writes El Barto on the and he pulls out a knife and stabs the tires. Santana just decided to go real street with the graffiti and the slashing of the tires. It was real great. They use a lot of vehicles on this show. Then to end this segment, Hager shows up with a forklift and rips the side of it, picks it up, tips it over and everything. Well, tries to tip it over, doesn't tip all the way over. So at first, MJF and company was not really selling the beating of the car. They cut back to them and they're just standing there watching. Like, they're supposed to be like, no. So then when it cut back to the Pinnacle, I guess that's when they told them, hey, you guys, you're supposed to be selling this. And then when they turned it back to MJF and them, they were like, no. MJF was like, that's illegal. That is illegal. What are they doing? Somebody had to tell them to sell it. Otherwise, they was just watching. Whatever, dog. So that was that segment. Now, I'm not thrilled about what they're doing here. I'm not. Look, I'm okay with the cage match idea. The cage match idea is fine. I don't care what they do with Spears and Guevara. They really could just... They should have a monster truck fight on top of a Joe Louis Arena, even though Joe Louis Arena doesn't exist anymore. And one of them should like fall off. And like, ugh! And maybe, I don't care which one, to be quite honest. Just one of them should just fall off the roof of Joe Louis Arena. And that would be great. That would make this interesting. But if they're going to have a wrestling match of any stripe, I don't care if it's last man standing, I don't care if it's barbed wire, death match, explosions, I don't care. I have zero interest in seeing a Sean Spears match. I have negative interest. I'm almost willing to pay them not to put Sean Spears on TV. That's how much I dislike him. Now, I'm not at that point with Sammy Guevara. I just don't like Sammy Guevara. But I'm almost willing to actively send Tony Khan money to keep Shawn Spears at home. He fucking sucks. I don't know what they could do with Santana and Ortiz with Cash and Dax. I'm sure they're going to do something fun, but we do need to get the titles on Santana and Ortiz eventually, right? MJF and Jericho, again, we've already seen them wrestle. I don't know what the hell they could do. Like, what are they going to do? A cage match or something silly like that? I don't know. So, Darby Allin wants to fight Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page alone. He's called for a handicap match. To which Sting was like, no way, man, I'm not doing that. And then Darby says, look, I have to prove it to myself. I have to prove. And Sting's like, no, you don't have to prove anything. You were who you were before I even came along. You were the TNT champion before I even got here. Sting, I love you. Sting, you know I respect you. Sting, I love you. But I got to do this for myself. He's like, okay, well, I'm staying at home. All right? I'll stay at home, sure. You know. Okay, so Darby's going to fight them by himself, which is going to be embarrassing because he's 4'11". Anyway, later in the show, Scorpio Sky says that I've seen you do a lot of dumb things, Darby, but this is the dumbest. Then Ethan Page says that your actions are going to have consequences, but are you mentally prepared to get beat by the men of the hour? Or the men of the year? Is it the men of the hour or the men of the year? I think it's the men of the year. Very close to the old Leo Rush man of the hour thing. But I would be offended if a midget challenged me to a 2-on-1 fight and thought he could win. That would piss me off. I'm not gonna hold you up. I'm like, dude, you're a midget. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, midget? I'll kill you. Anyway, Miro versus Evil Uno for the TNT Championship. So they did a short package on Evil Uno, to which he says that he wants to be the one to bring the TNT Championship back to the Dark Order. And that's really the Dark Order's mission, is to bring back the TNT title. He says selfishly he wants his 17 years in the business validated, and he thinks the TNT title will do that. He also wants to make Brody proud, and he wants to be the one to win the TNT title. He wants to be the one that represents the Dark Order. And you know what? This is actually not a bad babyface motivational thing. I'm remembering, of course, how people didn't really care for, dead people being used in storylines continuously. But hey, it's a different world. In any event, Evil Uno was positioned as being mostly feckless. A lot of his attacks were no-sold by Miro. Obviously he was going to win. They did a spot where the Dark Order came out to cheer for Evil Uno, and it actually gave him some energy and allowed him to fight back, and he was able to do some stuff. But then he tried a discus lariat, which was completely no-sold. I think Miro might have stumbled. And then of course he ends up losing to the Accolade, or what they call the Game Over now. They completely the no-selling of the discus lariat. I was like, I was just like, that's a stiff one. Because, now Miro is Andre the Giant. He went from being knocked down by Orange Cassidy, and Evil Uno is bigger than Orange Cassidy. That doesn't mean that he's, not weaker, but he went from being bumped by Orange Cassidy to Evil Uno can't even knock him down now. I don't know when he became Andre the Giant, but I like Serious Miro. This is great. He's ruling the roost over there. But it was not believable in any way that Evil Uno would win. There's just no believability to it. There was an Andrade El Idolo vignette, and they said he will be talking to him next week. I cannot wait for that pre-tape segment with Jim Ross. Jay Cargill was hanging out with this guy called Smart Mark Sterling. They have gone too far. I'm not even going to talk about this. They've gone too far. All I want to say is she supposedly got "I'm that bitch" trademarked. They have nothing for Jade Cargill to do. They absolutely have nothing. She just exists. She just exists. They're trying to make sure she's seen on TV at least once every other week. But they don't got nothing for that girl to do. Lance Archer versus Chandler Hawkins. This match made me legit mad. And it was mainly because it happened like after 11 o'clock. But it made me legit mad because Lance Archer looked like he was about to beat this guy in like 7 seconds. And then the guy counters Lance Archer's finish. The job guy counters Lance Archer's finish so he can do more damage. And he still ended up winning, but it took him like a minute instead of, the 10 to 15 seconds that it should have taken him. What a waste. Man, Lance Archer, he can't even get a job match. Fuck's sake, guy. Couldn't get a flawless victory in a job match. Lord have mercy, bro. Next was Ryan Namath and the wingman of Cesar Bonini and I think JD Drake and probably somebody else. I don't remember. They talked about how terrible Orange Cassidy is dressed and they want to give him a makeover. I just said, what is this? What is this bullshit here? Dolph, call your brother and tell him. Oh, well, he did Spirit Squad, so I guess we all got to start somewhere. But for fuck's sake, bro, this is stupid. They want to give Orange Cassidy a makeover. This is what Orange Cassidy was just wrestling for the title. For fuck's sake, now he's wrestling job guys who want to give him a makeover because they don't like how he's dressed. Holy shit. Booker of the year. Nyla Rose defeated Layla Hirsch. Then Britt Baker cut a promo on about how well Nyla Rose looks flipping burgers and that she's the superior champ already. And Nyla Rose is just a jealous bitch and says, this title made you. I make this title. Then she did her old DMD gimmick. I'm not sure who's supposed to be the babyface in this situation. Because Britt Baker is still very arrogant heelish. And Nyla Rose was working against a babyface here. And Layla Hirsch, at least the last time I checked, she was a babyface. So I don't know who the babyfaces are in the Nyla Rose, Britt Baker beef. And since I'm not going to watch it, I don't care. But, I just think that people should know who they're supposed to cheer for. But I'm guessing they just say, well, people are going to cheer for Britt because she's over. But she's still a heel. Whatever. Booker of the year, man. These are big-brained individuals we're dealing with. I cannot possibly compete with their intellectual acumen. The main event was Powerhouse Hobbs and Brian Cage versus 10 and Hangman Page. Just a lot of Dark Order on this show. So the match was going the way the matches go. And then Cage was tossed the FTW belt by Starks. He then tossed the belt aside and Starks got in his face and smacked him. So Cage then chases Starks away as Starks flees because he got a bad neck, leaving Hobbs by himself, and Hobbs gets beaten with a buckshot lariat. So thanks for coming, Hobbs. Good job to everyone involved. Taz was on commentary the whole time, didn't leave to try to stop what was going on. Hook didn't come out there at all. At least I didn't see him. This was not main event worthy, but they say, hey, it's close to midnight. Nobody cares. Throw out the Dark Order guys. So there they go. This show was, of course, weak. It goes without saying. The Jungle Boy stuff was good. That's really all I cared about is Jungle Boy segments were the segments. Now, what I mean by they were good is he was good. He did his part. The people he was dealing with, weren't always on the up and up. But he was fine. These shows are, I hate them. I don't hate them as much as I hate Impact. I hate them in a tongue-in-cheek way where I would rather they could be better. Let me put it like that. They could be better if they cared about storytelling and characters and stop putting so much emphasis on the ring work and put more emphasis on characters and telling me who these people are. And stop doing stupid shit like the wingmen and just having random factions. So you could have random tag team matches. And I know that people just want to look for good things to like about AEW, and that's fine. You could always look for things to like. I'm not going to look for things to hate. I hate what you presented. And then I hate that certain things are missing from the presentation. But it is what it is, Every Young Bucks match is essentially the same. But I'm guessing the show will pick up once it's getting off Friday. Once it moves to Saturdays, it'll probably be better, and then it'll probably get back to normal when it gets moved to Wednesdays. They just better hope the audience comes back. And I know that they've been dropping audience like a stone. But they better hope it's the summer, so people obviously are not going to be hanging out on Friday nights. And then a lot of the places are opening up too, so people are not. They've been sitting at home for a year, man. Most people are getting the fuck out the house on a Friday. They're trying to get the hell out, you know. So hopefully things will go back to normal for their ratings when they go back to go back to Wednesdays in July. I don't see it being a huge jump though. At least I don't think so. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. Hit me with some cash in the tip jar. Thank you, please. And I'll talk to you guys later.
Old non-aggression. Once that lesson sets in, you'll see a session. But you got an affection for no progression, regression.